Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Doyle Family Detour. I'm Mike, this is Ellie, and right now we're on our third episode, and we are all the way traveled from St. Augustine to New Orleans.
Yep, and we are broadcasting from our room today. Why? Because our kitchen is a mess.
Plus the acoustics are good.
Yeah. No, we're actually right in front of... Okay, I'm going to try to say this. Nope.
No.
No.
I believe it's German. It's Fauberg.
We're in front of a brewery.
It's
so
established in 1907, so there's something. We know a little something about it.
Yeah, so we're at another Harvest Host stop. This one this is our second night. So this is one of those ones that allows you to stay for an extra night, which is nice because we've been doing so many one-night stays, and I think that I'm starting to feel what the RV community calls burnout.
We're like smack dab in the middle. If you've been following our podcast so far, we kind of told you that we would be right in the middle of traveling pretty much like 9 out of 10 days straight.
Yeah, it's been rough. We had to make up for the days lost because of the technical difficulties we had. And we've been traveling anywhere between 150 to like 240 miles a day.
Yeah, so for the people who are seasoned, you're probably listening to this thinking, oof, that's a lot of travel. You could easily get burned out. For the people who are not quite so familiar, it's a lot of work. It takes me at least about a half an hour to an hour just to set up, which is like, put the jacks down and set unhitch.
Our jacks are broken, so Mike is like cranking out our hitch to go up and down.
Oh my god, my shoulders are gonna be so jacked.
You're gonna be jacked, no pun intended. But yeah, it's a lot of work, and you have to add at least 20% extra, from how long something would normally take you when you're taking your trailer or fifth wheel when you're towing it. So, I mean, a 3-hour journey takes us, with gas stops and dogs and babies, 4.5 hours. So we've been spending a lot of time in the car, and there's only so many podcasts and movie trivia games that we can play.
Yeah, I don't envy your job. You're doing a lot of work. Luckily, we have like what's called a MIFI. She could
our
get some
mobile
work
router.
done.
We have a mobile router, so I've been trying to get some work done in the car. I get violently car sick sometimes, but so far it's been okay. I only got very car sick yesterday, so I wasn't able to do that much work. But we've definitely been experiencing the burnout. So this was a nice little break, 2 nights in New Orleans, and then we're hitting the road for another 4 days traveling. But then after that, we are in places for 8+ days at a time, and it's going to be a whole, right now we're just in the getting there phase because we're trying to get out west, we're trying to get out of, the south, and it's been a lot. But anyway, we are in the beautiful New Orleans. We walked around the French Quarter this morning.
Yeah, this has been a really nice reprieve from the 4 days that we just got done traveling.
It was a really nice morning. Maisie, me and Mike went to Café du Monde and got beignets and café au lait.
We had some live trumpets and a whole jazz band playing right in front of us.
Right next to us. It was so fun. And then we went to this fairy tale park called Storytime or Storyland, and just played for a little bit. And now Maisie's napping, and maybe I'll head over to the brewery that we're staying at and enjoy some beverages after this, and we'll probably go back to French Quarter, which is just about 15 minutes from us, to get some nice Creole food and some more live music tonight with the babe.
Yeah, New Orleans, man, it just never disappoints. It's so unique as a city as a whole. There's nothing else like it. So, you definitely picked a great spot to stop for at least 2 nights and just be able to just decompress and re-energize, and then get ready for 4 more days until we get to Del Rio, Texas.
Yeah, it's definitely been very nostalgic for me being back in New Orleans, because when I went to school in Tallahassee, we would drive up here so many times, but multiple times a semester, to visit our friends that went to Loyola. And so it's very different coming here as a mom and having your baby and walking the same streets that you were and you too, you're blacked out at when you're in your teens and 20s.
I was telling her there was a few spots that I distinctly remember. I'm like, oh, I remember crossing the street there because I thought I was going to get mugged at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty close to blackout.
Yeah.
Over there, I think that was a strip club I went into.
I'm like, I've lost Dean here. I've lost Dean here. I've lost Dean here. But yeah.
Did you ever find him?
Yeah, we found Dean. We found Dean in a hopeless place. Dean's one of my best friends, and I don't think I've ever been to New Orleans without him, except for now, when Maisie took his place.
Okay, so let's give you a little bit of an idea of what we dealt with the last 4 days with the travel.
Yeah, well, let's talk about we've been boondocking mostly because these Harvest Host spots don't really have hookups. So, the last time we had done a podcast, we had full hookups and we hadn't really experienced boondocking yet and see how our systems held up. So, you want to start us off with how things are going with us boondocking?
Yeah, I would say that it's been going a lot smoother than I thought it was, especially with the start that we had. We know we were 8 days behind and like nothing was working out for us, but as we're on the road, it seems to be all coming together nicely. What's up?
That's last night's wine, not water.
Hey, on the road, anything goes.
Go on.
Our first night with no hookups, boondocking, was okay. In the morning, though, it was a little rough. We were at a monkey sanctuary, I think in Gainesville, and that was not so much all of our operations going bad, but Maisie, I took her out to go get some stuff. We went to Home Depot, and then as we were coming in, she threw up all over herself, and that set us back probably a good hour and a half, just decompressing and taking apart all of the pieces to her car seat and her clothes, and then not having the ability to just throw it in a washer.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Or having water, like you have to conserve the water that you have.
Right. We had a really good taste of how water conservation, not having a washing machine, like going back to not necessarily having your creature comforts.
While not having that smell in your car or on any of your clothing.
Yeah, we had to just quickly hand wash everything with laundry detergent, and then put it in bags to then later take to a laundromat, but just to get, the puke out. And just, it had rained the night before, which sounded beautiful at night. That was like the most soothing thing to sleep through. No white noise machine necessary for Maisie because she had a natural white noise machine. But to wake up to just puddles, rain, we're taking care of baby.
Definitely thrown into the elements.
Yeah. But as far as like how our systems worked, everything was running pretty smoothly, I thought. We installed our other battery, so now our battery bank is beautiful. We have 3 AGM batteries running that will link below, and the main thing that we need to work on is just water conservation, because we have a 60-gallon freshwater tank, 30-gallon gray, and 30-gallon black, and between washing the dishes and like bathing Maisie, the gray water tank fills up, I think, the fastest.
Yeah, so far in this trip I've had to fill up our tank twice with our water bag that we have. It's like a 60-gallon.
Yeah, it's for extra water. Where we don't have to necessarily fill up, like take our rig to go fill up somewhere. We could just fill up 60 gallons in this portable bag and then put it into the RV, which is nice.
Yeah. So my first try, I just went to a gas station and the guy was like, yeah, sure, right around the corner. And so I filled it up, no problem. And then my second time was last night when we pulled into New Orleans. And, I'm thinking, all right, it's just going to be easy. I went to probably about 4 or 5 gas stations and a laundromat, and they all looked at me cross-eyed as if, like, I was asking them for, like, their firstborn child. They're like, what? No.
Yeah. So that was definitely a lesson that we learned, we need to map out where we're going to get water when we get to a place, because not every gas station necessarily will have a spigot that you can just use. That's definitely a lesson that we learned about boondocking.
And what are some other places, I know you said it to me last night, but what are some other places that might be advantageous to be able to get water?
Yeah, some people, I reached out to some people over Facebook. Like you guys know, I ask most of my questions via Facebook. And there are some apps that I'm going to try to use. Somebody mentioned something called like iOverlander. And they were also saying that pretty much anywhere that you have a dump station, which is where you empty your gray and black water tanks, you'll be able to have a spigot there to fill up water as well. So we can search for dump stations through apps like Campendium and stuff that we already use. But as far as where you can find like spigots, people were saying any truck stop, gas stations. Someone said cemeteries. Interesting.
Also, that's a good point. If you are somebody who is definitely seasoned and watching this for a good laugh, but also want to comment and give us suggestions or help along the way, please do.
Yeah, we were struggling to find water last night. Thankfully, Mike found a gas station after like 4 or 5 tries, like he said. That's what you get when you're boondocking. You're kind of going to have to... It's more work. It's not as easy as just plugging into a park. But, you know, if you plug into an RV park, you don't get to walk, like, across the street to a brewery and stay at cool places like monkey sanctuaries. And we forgot to mention, after the monkey sanctuary, we stayed at a place called Golden Acres Ranch. This has been my favorite Harvest Host experience thus far. It was so cool. We had our whole like gated section to ourselves where our dogs could run around freely. They were loving it. And there was goats, sheep, like so many farm dogs, chickens, peacocks. I mean, the coolest farm ever. And Bobby, this woman who had been running the family farm for like 20 years, gave me and Maisie a tour on the golf cart while Mike was kind of setting everything up. And Maisie got to feed all the farm dogs, and it was so much fun. She got to feed the goats, and we tried all their jellies that they sell, and then we brought a couple back home. They're pretty much known for their mayhaw fruit. And
it was so good.
It was really good. We bought the jam, but I had never even heard of mayhaw fruit, and this was in Florida. Like,
yeah, it's like a Florida delicacy.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that growing up in Florida. But Golden Acres Ranch, if you're ever in Monticello or Monticello, still not sure how to say it, Florida, check out that Harvest Host spot, because it was really, really cool, and I'm definitely going to be back. I have a whole little video of it on TikTok and Instagram, just like little clips of me and Maisie hanging out and going around.
Oh, don't worry, people will see videos on this.
Oh, okay.
If they're listening. Oh,
right.
But if you're listening to this on a podcast, definitely go check that out.
Yeah. So yeah, we went from the monkey sanctuary to Golden Acres Ranch to Four Brewery. I'm just gonna call it the New Orleans Brewery, and because Nolens. These have been Harvest Host stop after Harvest Host stop. Oh wait, I forgot. No, before this we were at Blue Lagoon State Park in Pensacola, and we had hookups there. So we had a little bit of break from the boondocking for one night of hookups, which was good.
I don't even remember that. I mean, this has all been.
It's all blur.
Yeah.
It's all one day.
It's all get up, pack up, drive,
Yeah.
get there, unpack, eat dinner, try to do something productive, fall asleep,
Yeah.
wake up, do it all over again.
Mind you, I have to work in between this. Like Mike said, I'm usually able to work a little bit from the road, but like I do bookkeeping for my family's engineering company. I make t-shirts for my t-shirt company, Reheated Coffee Club, and I manage some vacation rentals in St. Augustine, Florida. So
And I just hang out.
no, are you kidding me? He does all the grunt work. He does, first of all the editing of our podcast, our vlog, etc., and he does all the maintenance.
Y'all, it's a lot of hard work taking all the ums and the ums in the 1 second. Oh well, we'll keep going.
Yeah, we call Mike our operations manager because he takes care of all the stuff in the RV. Homegirl's not going to be the one emptying the gray and black water tanks.
Ooh, let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, we had our first experience leaving.
Twice.
Our first experience twice.
Our first experience twice, absolutely. Yeah, you can only have a first experience twice.
That's what they say. We had our first experience emptying the gray. Mike, emptying the gray and black water tanks when we were leaving Blue Springs State Park. And thankfully, Mike was behind a really sweet older lady named Diane, who he basically got out of the car and was like, "Can I watch you empty your poo-poo?"
Yeah, and she was cool with it.
And he said it just like that, in that voice too.
Yeah, I used the word poo-poo and everything. Can you imagine if I was like, "Hey, can I watch you empty your shit?"
No, he was just like, "I'm new. Do you mind if I kind of just observe how it goes?" And she was so nice and walked him through everything. And then at the end, even gave him these like tablets to clean out your tanks.
Yeah.
That we didn't have, which was great. And she gave us some extra ones until we bought some of our own. But it was really nice to have someone in front of us who kind of helped Mike with his first experience. But how did it go?
So, I think for most people, right before you're about to do it, it's a little anxiety riddled, just because especially if there's like people behind you, if there's a line and you're not sure of the processes, because there's so many processes, especially with people waiting for you to set up properly. And there's a lot of little rules of like no-nos that you have to keep in mind, especially, you know, because you read about it or you watch it on a YouTube video, and you know, you try to remember all that, but like when you're in the moment, you really only, like most people know, you really only get a hang of things and learn things when you actually do them.
Yeah, you can prep yourself by reading and watching YouTube videos all you want, but you're not going to really get the hang of like this RV lifestyle until you're out there doing it.
Yeah.
And making mistakes, and
especially when it deals with such like, I don't want to call this high stakes, but it's, you definitely don't want to do no-nos here, because cross-contaminating things when other people are using them, it is just that's I think where most of the anxiety comes from, and making sure that you do it right. You don't want to use
your drinking hose with your shit hose, all right?
Yeah.
Let's just say it like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what kind of water filtration system you have.
So honestly, me watching Diane do it first, and then picking up on little things like, oh yep, I remember doing that. Oh yeah, I remember I have to do that, because I probably would have forgotten a few things. But all in all, if you hadn't done it yet and you know you're about to do it, definitely try to make friends with people around you, or just scope out somebody maybe the day before or the morning of, or someone behind or in front of you, to be able to, you know, make it as less anxiety riddled as possible. Which for me, both experiences have been great, and I feel like I'm a pro now.
The second time we did it too, there was a woman in front of us that was like, hey, if you guys are in a rush, go in front of us, because this is our first time doing it. And we were just like, hey, it's our second time, you take your time.
Yeah.
And like, for the most part, everyone that I've met thus far has been kind and willing to help and patient. It's been a really nice community experience so far.
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, both emptying the tank experiences have been pretty smooth.
Especially for you.
Especially for me, videotaping from afar. So yeah, that pretty much summarizes the highlights of the past week.
And the lowlights.
And the lowlights, but it's been a lot of travel, and it's not going to be like this forever. It's just getting there, and we just have to keep that mindset, like we're halfway there, because it's very easy to get burnt out in this lifestyle, and I'm definitely starting to experience a bit of the burnout. How about you?
I don't know if I've hit that wall like you have. I'm hoping I don't. I feel like somebody has to just, whether, and this happens with us all the time, when in my low moments or my frustrations, she's always there to be strong for me, and I try to do that for her. So I noticed her hit a wall, so I couldn't afford to also hit a wall. So I think it's a lot of about a mindset.
And you know, he's right about like taking turns with who's low at that moment, but there are times, and especially recently, where we're both just like not having it, things are not working, we're getting at each other's throats. And Mike made me laugh last night, where he was like, today was a great day. And I was like, why was today a great day? He's like, because I feel like we were a little less mean to each other.
Yeah.
He's like, if I could just wake up every day and be a little bit kinder, then I'm happy. And I'm like, well, you know, that's a really achievable and really nice goal.
That is really something. Like, I just saw like a quote like randomly on Instagram like a few days ago, and for some reason it stuck with me. And we had a really difficult morning at the monkey sanctuary, and I remember thinking, if I could just be a little bit the next day, if I could just be a little bit better than that day, I think we'll be all right. And then so I've kind of had that mantra moving forward, and it's been working so far. So who knows? Maybe by next week we'll be like marriage counselors.
Yeah, I think my breaking point was like, I didn't see Mike's toothbrush in like the container, and I'm like, hey, where's your toothbrush? And he's like, it's in there. I'm like, that one's mine. And he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, have you been using my toothbrush? And he's like, no. And he's like, yeah, maybe. And I just took the toothbrush and I just like Hulk snapped it, and I was like, that was mine. And that's just like where you know you're on like not sleeping.
Yeah, listen.
You're in the car too much, and you're just like getting at each other.
What she also failed to mention is right before that, I can feel like the eruption, like the red just coming through her face as the death stare is looking right at me in the eyes. And then a little like twitch of an eye, and then like a little smile starts to form, and then she just drops to her knees has the utensil in her hand and at that moment, you know, of
Mike,
course, I'm scared
laughed.
to death.
You laughed.
Well, yeah, but I'm scared to death. But I think in those moments, all you can do is laugh, because if you get sucked into like that like, oh my god, what's happening?
Okay, look, guys, you're gonna be with your family pretty much 24/7, and you have to, first of all, like your family, and I think we like each other. We all really like each other a lot, but you have to be okay with losing your shit sometimes and coming back and being like, okay, you know what, tomorrow I'm just gonna be a little bit better.
Look, you gotta laugh.
You gotta laugh about it. All right, so that was our week. Let's we're gonna move on to the Q&A section of this, and I actually had some people write in some questions to our email. Mike hasn't heard these questions yet either.
No.
So we'll start it off by in St. Augustine, Florida, we had Jeff and Aaron. They wrote in saying, where does all the poop go? And can you smell the poop wafting up into the... Is that how you say that word, wafting?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Wafting?
Yeah, wafting.
Up into... Are you making... into the RV. Okay, so poop, yeah, the Blackwater tank.
Yep.
And... no, you can't smell it. It goes down into your tank. But we did order some RV safe toilet cleaner, and like Diane gave us, those tablets that go in and break up the poop and make it smell nice.
Yeah, and I heard that's one of those things where you have to kind of stay ahead of, because that definitely is possible. I hear some people, if they don't like maintain their pipes and their sewage compartments correctly, that it can eventually become a problem, and then eventually could potentially stick up the whole bathroom and even like parts of the RV. So definitely something to stay on top of with those tablets, and making sure that everything is clean and dissolved.
All right. I mean, they really want to know about poop. So he had another question. Do you have recommended air freshener for poop damage control?
That's more your expertise.
I'm a fan of vanilla scents. So, and then he said...
I'm more of like a lavender chamomile guy.
Chamomile. That just gave me a flashback to being in Ireland, and we were
What's the crack?
Wait, what's the crack? We were trying to order chamomile tea, and the guy was like, chamomile. And he said it's so different. How did he say it? It was when we went to the tea at the castle.
Chamomile?
It was like, I don't know how he said it. But anyway, so next, getting off of the poop question train, Jeff and Aaron wanted to know, if you park on an incline, do you sleep crooked? You're the one who levels us. Why don't you take that one?
You can.
You shouldn't. That messes up all your systems. You have to always be leveled.
Yeah, especially your fridge.
Mm-hmm.
But we have something called, what is it called? You just take these little red slips in front of your wheel, and you just drive just a little bit up on it to create a balance.
It's just like a tire leveling system. I'll get the exact link and link it below. But that's if you need to level one side more than the other, or front to back more, and then you want to level left to right, you want to level front to back, you can move up your jacks in the front and put down your stabilizers in the back. But you shouldn't ever really be sleeping on an incline. I mean, maybe if you were not unhitching your car and you were just doing like an overnight stay, but it's really not good for your system. So there shouldn't really, even if you park on an incline, the best is when you can find a spot to camp that it's leveled, because then you don't have to do much and you're good. But
in our long experience, it's been far and few. I think the only time that I didn't have to put slips underneath the tire was once.
Yeah.
In our about 5 or 6 destinations so far.
And then he asks, how many hours do you intend to travel each time, and how long will you stay at each place? So I think we pretty much answered that earlier with just that we've been doing about 150 to 240 miles a day, but they say to do, it's called the 222 rule, where you don't want to drive more than 200 miles a day, you want to stop every 2 hours, and you want to stay in a place for at least 2 nights.
Wow,
so,
we're real lawbreakers.
Yeah, we have not been following that rule too much, but in the future we will be. We're staying 8 to 14 nights some places, and definitely not going more than 200 miles usually. That's not the norm. All right, so then we have a couple questions from Lonnie Quinn in New York City. So Lonnie wants to know, can you take nice hot showers? I can't imagine they're very long. Do you have to shower quickly?
Well, I actually have you. I don't think we have experienced a shower in our own RV yet.
We haven't. Mike and I haven't. Maisie has, not because we haven't showered, but because we're staying at places that have facilities like state parks. So Maisie we have a little blow up bath, and we fill it up, and then she takes her bath in there. But because we are trying to conserve water, if we wanted to take nice long hot showers, it would be at a time that we have full hookups.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it doesn't matter. You have constant water. It's filtering out to your sewage. Like, it's just running like a normal house. However, if we're boondocking
and we really have to take a shower, which obviously you probably should take one, I don't know, every 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
The one thing that I just asked her yesterday, actually, that you have to keep in mind is know how much water you have, and know, like, our specific shower, it expels 2.1 gallons per minute.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to go in with a game plan, being like, okay, what am I going to hit
Soak
first?
yourself up.
Get the head, get the arms, get wherever you need to get, and get in and get out as fast as you can. Also, a good tip is to turn your propane or your heater element on a good 15 minutes before the shower, so that it has time to heat up.
And then you could just turn it off right when you're showering, because it'll stay hot the whole time. But yeah, if you are going to shower in your rig, completely doable to take long, hot, nice showers when you have hookups, which we do sometimes. Lonnie also asked, I see that you are traveling with a child. Is the RV big enough or soundproof enough that you and your husband can have intimate time together?
Wow. You say.
Yeah, well, so, while yes, that is a pretty small RV, I think we share 300 square feet in total. Our daughter has her own room with a door. We have our own bedroom with a door. And, she has a white noise machine.
Look, it's probably no different from having an apartment in New York City where you have these thin walls and there's someone right on the other side of you.
That's true.
It honestly, and she's like 2 rooms away, so it's 35 feet long. So yeah, we got more than enough room, especially with just one kid.
Yeah,
and she's only 2.
And also, like, the RV does move a bit when you, like, walk around, or if I, like, jumped up and down right now, like, she might feel it a bit, but there are stabilizers on the back of where her room is, and this thing weighs, probably with all of her furniture and everything in it, like 10,000 pounds, so it's not, like, light where it's just gonna be, like, moving like crazy, and, yeah, you could live your life like normal.
Yeah.
However you want.
Yeah, as far as that goes, it's been great as far as the actual living space. I have not felt cramped. I have not felt suffocated at all. So
yeah, surprisingly, neither have I. And I think that I require, like, a little more room. But I've been okay. We pretty much have space for everything we need here, with the exception of some of Maisie's bigger toys that we did leave back home or sent back with the grandparents when they visited us at Blue Springs. Ooh, a ladybug's on the window.
It's good luck.
Huh, look at that. Well, anyway, I think I'm going to go grab a beer at the brewery and maybe take my laptop and do some work in there.
Oh, can I join you?
I thought you were going to take a nap.
I know, but, like, beer,
You have to stay because Maisie's napping, so.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so from here, let's see our itinerary. I think we're heading up a couple more Harvest Hosts locations. I think I'm actually going to post our rough itinerary, just kind of like a map, not necessarily where we're staying, because I don't necessarily think that's very safe, because we're traveling with a child, but just like where it's geographically located on the map. I think I'll put that on Instagram so people can kind of see the route we're taking. But yeah, from here we're going to Lake Charles, Louisiana for the night, and then a brewery in Texas, and then we're going to be, in those 2 nights are boondocking, and then we will be at a state park, and it has hookups, and then we are finally done with the 1-night stays, and we are going to be in Del Rio, Texas for 8 days.
You're the best 1-night stay I've ever had.
Oh.
Should we?
And with that, we will end this podcast and say thank you for joining us on our journey. We have no idea what we are doing and so happy to be sharing it with you.
See you.
Namaste.
See you on the road.